Got it.
Today on Fresno State Focus, we remember former Conley Art Gallery director Edward Lund.
Also, a Fresno High School student got a perfect score on the ACT and the SAT.
Plus, we will tell you why portraits of women have been popping up all over campus.
Fresno State Focus starts now. Hello and welcome to Fresno State Focus. I'm Tiara Richardson.
And I'm Aldanae Williams. About 1 in 4,000 students get a perfect score on the SAT and 1 in 1,800 on the ACT. A student at University High School recently got a perfect score on both. Fayez Ahmed was at his home with his mom when he heard the news. He immediately sent a text to his dad, who cried with joy. Fayez says he took 2 practice tests a day before for 2 weeks to prepare for the exams. He says the extra practice helped him improve thinking process on the questions he missed.
No matter what the challenge is, even if it's designed not to be able to overcome with hard work, if you put in the hard work, you can achieve your goals and overcome your challenges.
The 16-year-old student is already applying to universities, and several others have invited him to apply. Fayez plans to attend medical school and get a degree in neuroscience. He also wants to publish a philosophical novel he has been working on.
Former Conley Art Gallery director Edward Lund died earlier this month in a cycling accident. Philip Bonatti looked back on his life and what it meant to him to be at the art department.
You didn't need to look far for a man who had as much passion for art as Edward Lund did. Art director Edward Gillum knew when his passion started.
I'll never forget the one thing he said to me one day. We were in the gallery and he said, you know, when I was a little kid, my dad was teaching here, I used to come up into this gallery all the time. And I always dreamt of someday I was going to grow up and run this gallery.
The Fresno State Art Department opened up a gallery in honor of his life. It features pictures of Lund and his family and his own artwork. Lund's gallery gives students the opportunity to reflect. Christian Kennedy remembers her relationship with Lund.
It's almost like a father-daughter relationship because when it came down to it, when the show is all done, he's like, good show. That's kind of like one of the compliments you know, after all the tension and everything like that, it's like what you know, when he says, good job, Kristen, it's like getting a pat on your back from your dad.
Lund had another passion, cycling. Lund made cycling a part of his life and a part of his work. He started his passion with bicycles at the young age of 14. Lund would regularly participate in marathons of over 100 miles every other weekend or so, and usually finished first. He was known as the Hammer in the cycling community because of his ability to always complete the challenges put in front of him, but his dedication extended to his work as well.
And it's a sad, sad thing. It wakes every one of us up and we realize just how thin the thread of life is.
And despite that thin thread, Lund's life will be viewed as a full one, touching many people along the way. And here at the art department, Edward Lund was more than a colleague. He was a friend, and he left a legacy that no one could replace. Philip Bonatti, Fresno State Focus.
Send donations to Gifts in Memory of Edward Lund, 2380 East Keats Avenue, Mail Stop MB99, or the World Bicycle Relief Organization at theworldbicyclerelief.org. As a faculty member at Fresno State, this professor has been fortunate enough to travel the world teaching the culture and history of African American studies. Hello, Dr. Shetler. Nice having you here today.
Thanks, Tiara.
So I've always been amazed to know how passionate you are about African American studies. Tell me more about how you got interested in this.
Well, as an undergrad, when I was my freshman year in college, I read the autobiography of Malcolm X. And then that kind of started my path. And then my senior year in college, Nelson Mandela was released from prison. And so those two things really kind of started my path. And then I just continued. I did a master's in African American Studies. Then I went to South Africa for a year and I was teaching at a multiracial high school. And then I came back and did my PhD in African American Studies. And that's where I've been ever since. So.
And why is this so important to you? Why is African American studies so important to you?
Well, we still have so many problems. I mean, the Black Lives Matter movement in the last year to 2 years shows us how deep the problems still are of racial divide and racial injustice. And I believe in fighting for that. And when I read the civil rights movement, things about the civil rights movement as an undergrad, I knew that passion of that activist movement was something that I wanted to follow, to continue. And the civil rights movement didn't solve everything, so we still have so many challenges that relate to my field.
And is there any events coming up regarding African American studies or programs that you've been a part of on Fresno State's campus?
We do most of our activities in February for Black History Month, but the Africana Studies program is always trying to have panels, either for President Obama, or we do African film festivals. We've done a panel on Obama every year that he's been in the presidency, and so there's things that we try to stay current to connect to our field, because it's not just about the literature or the scholarship, but it's also about the real world.
Definitely. Thank you for being here today, Ms. Shetler.
Thanks, Tiara.
Nearly 600,000 college students between 18 and 24 are unintentionally injured while under the influence of alcohol. I had the chance to listen to the story of a Fresno State student after his devastating drinking accident.
Thank you.
Alex Franklin is a senior at Fresno State who has a lot more on his plate than midterms. For the past year, Franklin has been attending a court-ordered Alcoholics Anonymous class. Last year, on a drive to Los Angeles, Franklin had an accident which he described as a catastrophic roller coaster.
My car was flipping over 3 times into the fields, and that's all I really remember was the flipping over.
After CHP arrived on the scene, Franklin was taken to the Tulare County Jail and charged with driving under the influence.
That's really just taught me a lesson to alcohol affects me in a way where I can't think, before I act.
Fresno State has many programs on campus that help students in the same situations. The Health Promotion and Wellness Resource Department will be hosting National Collegiate Alcohol Awareness Week, October 19th through the 23rd.
Students are going to receive information on alcohol awareness, tips on how to drink responsibly and safely, information about the repercussions of DUIs, how to have a designated driver, plan for one as well, and how to party safely overall.
Although Franklin says fines racked up a whopping $4,000, his future is looking brighter.
Today I'm, about 3.5 months sober. I completely cut drinking out of my life.
For more information on Alcohol Awareness Week or for help with an alcohol addiction, make an appointment to see a counselor at the health center.
Some Valley residents are doing what they can to control this drought. Others are just hoping our farmers can do what they can to get by. Kalina Speakman has more.
California is in its 4th year of a severe drought, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. With 98% of California dried up, residents are being urged to make some kind of change. Just this past April, Governor Brown signed an executive order demanding cities and towns to cut their water bill by 25%, which is estimated to conserve 1.5 million acre-feet of water over the next 9 months.
There's maybe like little things, like maybe not running my water as much, like when I brush my teeth or wash my hands or doing dishes. I'm trying to do more bigger loads and smaller loads so I don't have to waste as much water, but that's pretty much it.
Take just one look around me and you'll see that I'm surrounded by nothing but dried up land. The valley's in desperate need of water, but unfortunately no one can predict when this drought will end.
Many have adopted the slogan, "Make California Brown," but take one drive around Clovis and you will see many residents would rather not make that sacrifice and keep their lawns green, while others have opted for artificial turf.
I don't necessarily do it because of the drought, but I don't use as much water when I brush my teeth. I brush my teeth, I usually turn the water off when I'm not using it. I don't take that, my showers that way on that. That's pretty much it.
An estimated 17,000 farm jobs were lost last year. California grows 43% of the nation's fruits, nuts, and vegetables, and more than 90% of grapes and almonds. This drought has cost the farming sector $2.2 billion in just this past year.
You know, in California, we live off our agriculture, and without water, it's going to affect really our population and how it's growing and how to feed and do all that stuff.
If everyone does their part, it'll truly make all the difference. Kaylina Speakman, Fresno State Focus.
Coming up on Fresno State Focus, we'll tell you about the resources on campus that can help you when the going gets tough.
After the rain from last week, the skies are clear. Coming up, your 7-day forecast.
Success. At Fresno State, it's no secret. It's discovering new ways to change our world. It's creating opportunities as diverse as our community itself. It's in the distinction of our graduates as they lead us into the future. Success is no secret at Fresno State. It's our mission.
This is our Fresno State, forming relationships and learning experiences that last a lifetime, making friends who are like family, learning from professors who treat us like family, and earning a degree to make a better future for our family. Nice. Engaging our alumni generation by generation by generation. This is our Fresno State. Welcome to the family.
We're in the middle of October and we're still in the 80s. Let's take a look at our satellite map. We have some clear skies throughout the United States, but we also have some activity going on in the Midwest part. Let's take a look at the West Coast. We have some clear skies with some warm temperatures. That is because the high pressure system is bringing us those cooler temperatures. Also for your, okay, we have 80s throughout the whole entire Central Valley. Speaking of warm temperatures, we also have our moderate, our air quality, which is good throughout the whole county, but also moderate in Kings and Tulare. Now on to today's weather is 79 degrees with bringing us calm winds from the east-southeast at a relative humidity at 47%. On to our 7-day forecast. Today and tomorrow we have 81 degrees, but for the rest of the weekend we'll be seeing 80s. And also it will transition its way throughout your work week. We can continue seeing 80s. That is it for weather. On to entertainment news with Adriana Ferry.
Thank you, Janet. It was the ultimate block party for all ages, complete with fun music, good food, and cool drinks. Summer Sweat Volume 3 took place in downtown Fresno over the weekend. It was the last in a series of free summer parties designed to celebrate downtown and local music acts. The Fulton Mall was full of vendors, food trucks, and most importantly, lots of people looking to enjoy the fun. The lineup included a mix of over 30 bands and solo artists. Performances started at noon and continued well into the night, with the last band wrapping up around 1 a.m. The hope is that Summer Sweat becomes an annual celebration. Several portraits of women have been popping up all over the walls of campus, but there's an important meaning behind this project that many don't know.
It's just been a really wonderful part to be with.
Fresno State student Jasper Yang is referring to his involvement with Rad Fresno State Women. At first, Jasper volunteered as an extra credit opportunity for one of his classes until he realized he wanted to dedicate his time to help. The project started with a children's book, colorful pages of ABCs, and American women who have helped shape history.
I saw this book come out, Rad American Women by Kate Schatz and Miriam Klein-Stahl.
And after a visit from the bestseller's author and illustrator, Jennifer Crow was inspired to create something of her own, only this time featuring women from Fresno State.
I thought this is a perfect opportunity to collaborate with the Women's Studies Department and also Art and Design.
And what exactly is the project? It's a collaborative art display and website. Pasted throughout the school grounds are posters of Fresno State students and faculty, past and present, who have demonstrated innovation, activism, and leadership on and off campus.
We included Judy Chicago, of course, who's probably
one of the most famous people associated with Fresno State. She started the first feminist art class here, in the nation, here at Fresno State. She had a feminist art collective. We also recognize Francino Puta, Dr. Francino Puta, who is the director of the Cross Cultural and Gender Center.
So you might be wondering, how does this all work? It's actually pretty easy. All you have to do is take your cell phone, go up to one of the portraits on campus and scan the QR code. And immediately you'll get all the biographies of the Fresno State women.
Jasper was just one of several students who volunteered their time to help cut and paste the portraits on school walls. And just like that, Jasper's extra credit opportunity turned into a learning experience.
I learned that there's a lot of really important women throughout history and how their contributions are really controversial at part, but then they still stuck with it.
Make sure you check out all of the rad Fresno State women while you're walking around campus. The portraits are only up for a limited time. Warm hearts and welcoming faces stood at the doors of the International Coffee Hour at Fresno State. Inside, seats were filled and the room overflowed with students from all over the world mingling over coffee and cookies. Every Tuesday, International Coffee Hour brings people from different backgrounds together to share customs and history. International Student Advisor Jamie Jones says this event is important to educate people about different cultures.
I think that it's a great opportunity for students, faculty, staff, and community members to mix and mingle and learn about some place that they may never actually get to travel themselves.
Coffee Hour continues through December 1st. Next week, students can look forward to experiencing Thailand from the comfort of the Henry Madden Library. I'm Adriana Ferry, and that's your entertainment update.
Experts say that anxiety motivates people to be more prepared, but there's a downside. Anxiety can have a negative effect too. Malia Hill says she suffered from anxiety her whole life.
It sucks because people don't really understand if your sickness isn't physical, if it's more of a mental thing. People are like, oh, well, I hope you start thinking more positively, or crap like that. And it's like, no, I'm sick.
Hill grew up in an abusive household and says this contributed to her high stress levels. She has always had a hard time reaching out for support. But thanks to the resources that students can find at the health center, she says she's learned how to work through it by breathing, acknowledging her feelings, and being more patient with herself. Peer Ambassador of Wellness, Rosalind DeBarbara, says that anxiety is number 4 on the top 10 academic impact list generated by the National College Health Assessment.
We need to bring more awareness to students that it's okay to ask for help, and even if you think you have anxiety or depression or any of these things, it's okay to ask for help, to get evaluated, to seek some type of resource, because it's just going to leave you in such a better state.
Students might secretly suffer internally with these high stress levels. Oftentimes, they may even assume that they have no support. She reassures us that students can find help at the health center. Licensed clinical psychologist Amanda Mortimer says although painful, anxiety is very common. Professionals in the psychology department at Fresno State are seriously trying to get anxiety sufferers more support.
And I'm in the process of redesigning our Introduction to the Majors courses and adding an extra course that will teach people more about what is the psychology major, but also at the same time help them build cohesiveness and feel like they're part of our community.
The Association for University and College Counseling Center directors show that more students are seeking help at schools' counseling centers, which could be one possible solution to students' high stress levels. If students are suffering from anxiety or high stress levels, Fresno State Health Center is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:45 if needed assistance.
Many people dream of building their own brand, but only few follow through. One Fresno State alumni has taken it upon himself to start a brand of his own, and it is really taking off. I am here with Nigel Burton, the creator of Just Be Dope. It's finally nice to meet the man behind the brand. So I've seen your stickers, your hats, backpacks, everything all over campus. And I was just curious, what is the inspiration behind the name Just Be Dope?
So the inspiration behind the name Just Be Dope is really just positivity. So spreading love. What Just Be Dope stands for is like just be you, just be yourself. So whatever your background is, if you're artsy, athletic, you're a hipster, you're nerdy, you're hood, whatever your background is, or your label that society has thrown on you. You really just focusing on being yourself, you know, not being what society tells you to be or following what negative influences are. Really just loving yourself, loving others for who they are, and just be dope. So that's what it's about.
Okay, and like I said, I've seen it all over campus. So how does it feel for you to have all of your peers supporting you?
It's amazing. It's honestly, it's amazing. It's a blessing just to have the support of my peers, to be able to come back to Fresno State, where where it started, where I went to school. You know, I used to sit in these same classrooms. I used to be in this studio working cameras. So it's crazy to come back and see people really rocking with Just Be Dope, wearing my stuff, excited to talk to me about it, and it's instant inspiration for me because it makes me realize that I'm really doing it, what I've done, and that there's people that really look up to it and really like the message behind it. So it makes me focus on continuing to do it in a genuine, positive way, and just keep knowing that I have people supporting me. So through every struggle, just keep going, knowing I got love.
All right, well, we've been talking with Nigel Burton, the man behind the brand Just Be Dope. Thank you so much for having time with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Hundreds of walkers and runners stepped out onto Chuck Chansey Park to support a meaningful cause. Cox Odia has more.
Arsen Marsubian comes from a family that knows all about heart disease. His father died at age 55, and he says other family members lost their lives after bypass surgery.
And I've had two heart surgeries within 70 days. I have a stent and a defibrillator. And I'm age 80 right now. It's still going. So I've been blessed.
Marsubian took part in the Heart and Stroke Walk to help show that lifestyle changes can save lives. He credits the American Heart Association with keeping him alive.
Locally, we focus on education and really just providing the necessities as to what does it mean, what does it look like to live a heart-healthy life or just a healthy life, period.
Jan says more than 600,000 people die from heart disease each year. Events like this celebrate people like Marsubian who have made lifestyle changes, and people like Jason and Suzanne Asmer who are walking for a different reason.
Support our family and friends who are, and our little girl Abigail with her heart condition.
Oh.
Our friends who have babies with heart condition.
More than 2,000 participants attended the walk, which raised more than $20,000.
All of the proceeds went to the American Heart Association and funding toward the research to improve cardiovascular health. Cox Odia, Fresno State Focus.
Coming up on sports, we have Karachi Ito on set to talk about tomorrow's community night.
Plus, we find out how softball is preparing for the upcoming season. Stay tuned for sports with Kaylina Speakman.
I got the bulldog spirit up in my head.
Up in my head.
Up in my head.
I got that bulldog spirit. Up in my head. Up in my head to stay. I got that bulldog spirit. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Got that bulldog spirit. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart to stay. I got that bulldog spirit. Down in my toes. Down in my toes. Down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit. Down in my toes. Hey. Down in my toes to stay. I got that bulldog spirit. Up in my head. Deep in my heart. Down in my toes. I got that bulldog spirit. All over me. All over me to stay. I got that bulldog spirit.
Deep in my heart.
Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. I got that bulldog spirit.
Friday night was a great night to be a Bulldog. Fresno State snapped their 5-game losing streak and beat Mountain West Division rival UNLV at home 31-28. The talk of the night was redshirt freshman quarterback Kilton Anderson, who led the Bulldogs to a fourth quarter comeback win. After the game, Coach Reuter said, "I think God is a Bulldog." At Monday's press conference, Coach was still grinning ear to ear.
Little pep in the step anytime you get a chance to have a conference win. It's been a while for us. That locker room after the game was a special feeling, but we also realize that we've got an even bigger task at hand this week.
Up next for your Bulldogs, they travel to Colorado Springs to take on Coach DeRuyter's alma mater, Air Force. That game kicks off Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific time and will be televised on ESPN3. Basketball season is right around the corner, and your Fresno State men's and women's basketball teams invite you out to community night tomorrow at the Save Mart Center. We're here with junior forward Caraccietto, who is here to tell us more about this fun event. Thank you for joining us, Karachi. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So what can you tell us about Community Night?
I mean, it's just really a night for the community to come and just watch us. I mean, let the community know us better and let us know the community better. So let us know who's really coming to our game, let us know who's supporting us, and just the Bulldogs, you know.
Is this something that's been going on annually every year, or is this kind of the first year that we've been doing it?
I mean, we've had this the past 2 years. I mean, my freshman year, we really didn't have this, and then my sophomore year, we had it in. I mean, the other year before that, before I came, we had it. So I know my freshman year, we didn't have it, but last year we had a dunk contest, scrimmage, and stuff like that with the women's basketball team, but this year we just, I don't know if we're doing the same thing, but we should be doing it.
And it says kids are coming out to join and they're going to shoot around with you guys. Most of these kids look up to you guys. So how is it to be out there with them, giving them some pointers and stuff like that?
I mean, kids are always awesome. I mean, they have energy, and we have a lot of energy too. But I mean, when we get to play with the kids, it's more fun. So I love the kids.
All right, and they say timeout is set to make an appearance. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I mean, timeout is always timeout is timeout. So I mean, they just have to come and watch.
All righty, well, thank you. We've been talking with Caraccietto, junior forward with the men's basketball team. Fresno State softball is gearing up once again after having a fantastic season last year. Andrew Worth has the story.
The Bulldogs softball team is back to work this fall after a season that saw them at their best more often than their worst. Going 40-16 last year, the Dogs claimed the Mountain West Championship before falling in the NCAA tournament. Coach Tricia Ford said that she was very happy with last season, but is ready for more this time around.
We now know what postseason looks like, smells like, feels like, you know. None of our players last year had kind of been there, and for this year, for us to build upon that, to make sure that when we get to postseason this year, that we're ready.
This task will not prove easy for the Bulldogs after graduating a few key players last spring. But with great loss comes great opportunity, and no player knows that feeling better than star pitcher Jill Compton.
Usually I just go with the flow kind of and lead by example, but I've learned that I need to be more vocal out here and tell the girls how it's supposed to be done, and hopefully that they can do that as the program progresses.
This year's team will feature a large mix of experience and youth. The team will be led by 8 seniors and 4 juniors, with 11 underclassmen following right behind. Senior Hannah Harris said that the team's leadership has done pretty well, paving the way for their new teammates.
The upperclassmen have taken it upon themselves to be very good leaders, and so they're just following what we do and hopefully leading them in the right foot tracks.
With fall ball getting underway, a few newcomers will be fighting to make this year's starting lineup. Claire Stucker graduated from Bullard High in 2014 and played last year at Mississippi State before transferring. Stucker said she is excited to be home and playing for Fresno State.
I actually grew up going into the stands and watching all the games when Margie Wright was the coach. And last year I didn't play here, but coming back, it's meant the world to me.
Just in here brushing up on my fundamentals, but you can catch the Dogs later today at 7 p.m. here at Margie Wright Diamond. Andrew Worth, Fresno State Focus.
Well, just going off of what Andrew said, the Diamond Dogs are back in action. Their first preseason matchup is actually tonight. Are you guys looking forward to it?
I'm looking forward to it. I've never been to a baseball game.
Me neither.
I've never been to one. We should go out and support our Bulldogs.
Yeah, we should all go.
All right, well, they did have a great season last year, so hopefully they can capitalize and have another one this year.
Definitely.
Not like our football team.
Next week on Fresno State Focus, we will tell you about a new haunted attraction in Fresno.
Plus, how debt is affecting physical therapy students.
Also, don't miss a chance to meet Fresno State's mascot.
For all of us here at Fresno State Focus, I'm Alton A. Williams. Thank you for joining us and have a good night.